Here's a photo background inspired by the story. A modern, optimistic, cinematic illustration for a story about ambition, love, and success. Scene. A bright, sunlit Apple Park campus in the background, with sleek glass buildings, green trees, and people walking or chatting. In the foreground, a confident young Asian businesswoman in a sharp black suit is enjoying coffee at a stylish outdoor cafe table. A smiling, friendly young barista, David, stands beside her, holding a cup of coffee. Their eyes meet in a moment of connection. The atmosphere is positive, hopeful, and a little romantic, blending professionalism and a sense of new beginnings.
When I was a child, I used to say that I would be a great CEO of a prominent company one day. I held on to this dream while studying hard at school, eventually gaining acceptance to Harvard. At university, I had the opportunity to meet some truly remarkable individuals and became close friends with them. My time at university was fantastic. I excelled academically and graduated with an impressive mark. After completing my studies at Harvard, I applied for jobs at several top-tier companies, including Apple, Meta, and Google. To my disbelief, all of them called me for job interviews within a short span of time. It was surprising, as I had anticipated perhaps one call, but to my amazement, all three reached out. Nonetheless, I attended the interviews and believe it or not, I was offered positions at each of the companies. I had to make a choice, and I ultimately decided to join Apple. I began working at Apple Park as the senior president of the staff department. Everything was going great, but something felt amiss. I longed to have a man in my life with whom I could share my joys and challenges, someone to experience a fulfilling life together. However, I had no idea who would be the love of my life, so I decided to relax and let the universe take its course. Time passed, and one day I found myself in an argument with one of the employees. Due to his lack of discipline, I had to make the difficult decision to fire him. It was a tough day, and I didn't know how to lift my spirits. I thought a cup of coffee at the cafe in Apple Park might help, so I went there and placed my order. To my surprise, a man arrived with my coffee. I must confess, he was the most handsome man I had ever laid eyes on. He greeted me with a warm smile and said, "Hello." Caught off guard, I simply looked at him for a few seconds before finally thanking him for the coffee. He seemed a bit surprised as well. At that moment, I knew something for certain. I had fallen in love with him. I felt a whirlwind of emotions that I had never experienced before. However, I didn't take any immediate action, I just enjoyed my coffee and left. It was a peculiar day that began with an argument, but ended with love. That night, sleep eluded me. I realized that I had personally assigned his contract to work at the cafe. However, due to my heavy workload, I hadn't been able to meet him in person or have a conversation with him. How can I get his phone number? Is he single? What if he doesn't like me? These were the questions that kept me awake that night, racing through my mind. As time went on, I felt the need to take action and get to know him better. I started visiting the cafe more frequently and engaged in conversations with David, the worker at the cafe. Each time I would ask him a couple of questions, inquiring about his background and his relationship status. Here's the interesting part. Since I was his boss, he was apprehensive and wondered if he had done something wrong for me to approach him with questions. Nevertheless, as I got to know him more, my feelings for him deepened. After a month, I decided that enough was enough. I had to confess my feelings to him, regardless of the outcome. The next day, I waited at the entrance of Apple Park, eager to see him. The moment he stepped out, I gathered my courage and called out to him. We started talking, and I expressed my feelings towards him. However, his reaction wasn't what I had anticipated. He simply smiled and said, "I knew that you had feelings for me, but I was hesitant to ask because I wasn't sure if it was true, so I waited for you to open up about your emotions." Curious, I asked him how he had known that I had fallen in love with him. He replied, "Since you only spoke to me and no one else, I sensed that something was going on in your heart. Regardless, it has been 5 years since I shared my feelings, and now we have 5 children. I am now the president of the department I used to work in, while my husband, David, has successfully established his own cafe in town. That concludes my story. I hope you enjoyed it. By the way, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.